Welcome back to Soil Sage and Soul Siren with Maurice Small and Rebecca Reynolds. And we have been away for a little while doing our farming, and I've got Maurice on the line. We're excited to be with you with a hot topic called the definition of plenty. How you doing, Maurice?
Doing well, Rebecca. How are you today?
Well, I'm plenty happy to be on with you.
That's right.
Yeah. And, this is a really important topic in a world of excess and a world of lack too. We have huge amounts of people who have more than what they need, who are over consuming beyond just food. And we have people all over the world with lack and disease and illnesses because of that lack. So, Maurice, if I were to ask you how you feel about the word plenty, what comes up?
Well, as I think about plenty, I think about what people do every day. And I think about it could be anybody from watching TV, watching plenty of TV, to having plenty of takeout, to having plenty of marital relations or out of marital relations, things like that. Everyone's drawn to different types of excess. And I think about my own personal life, and someone might say, wow, you get plenty of time outside, or wow, you have plenty of vegetables around you, or wow, those herbs are sure plentiful. And I think as humans, we're born to think about what it is to have. And then some of us, we just begin to enjoy something. And that enjoyment sometimes leads to detriment. And that enjoyment sometimes lead to an outpouring of abundantly sharing all the gifts that you're given in your abundance. Because I believe we all are abundant in so many ways. So those are my perspectives. What are yours, Rebecca?
Wow. Well, yeah, you took it on a lot of different layers, like steps going up to the attic. And I'm going to go to the food part first, and just my observation, especially around weekends, about how the excess is aware. You can see the awareness of excess in people's carts, and you're thinking like, geez, how many people are they having over, or what are they stocking up for? And so plenty, my understanding of plenty for myself is being satiated, having this sense of fulfillment, whether that be having plenty of friends, having plenty of food. And I want that for everybody. I want every child to have enough, and every adult to feel that they are full and filled up. And that is beyond food. And mostly it is about appreciation, being filled up and with appreciation. So, but back to the plenty in terms of food, I do want to ask you, Maurice, do you believe the earth has the ability to provide for everyone on the earth, including the beings?
I do believe so. And the earth is an amazing sphere, and it always has had enough. I believe that it gets to the question of how are we as caretakers of the earth avoiding the truth of what it is to acknowledge that there is enough for everyone and everything.
Yeah. And if we recognize there was definitely enough food, a plentiful amount of food for all beings, that is the way the earth was structured to have enough. We're overpopulating and aggressively populating at times. And to me, what stops any kind of plentiful amount of food is the fact that we're tearing up the ground for use for so many structures and non-food type activities. I'm interested in how you feel about that in terms of maintaining plenty to eat without having to compromise plenty of housing and or, yeah. How do you feel about that?
I feel that a re-examination is necessary with our developers. I feel that a re-examination is necessary with our governments, and most definitely a re-examination of individual ideals of how we are living, and how all those re-examinations need to have a common strikeable balance so that we're able to come to certain actionable conclusions. There's a number of native sayings about when the last buffalo is gone, when the last deer is gone, when the last tree is gone, you're going to have to, you know, eat your coins. You're going to have to eat your dollar bills and your pounds
Mm-hmm.
and your yens. So we are in an abundant type of mode of greed and distraction, whereas we should be in an abundant mode of what does nature need? How do we continue working with nature? And how do we not build so much, but build smart? How do we not build so much as far as cutting down more trees, which is totally unnecessary, and building on a parking lot where the Walmart used to be, or the Kroger used to be, or the movie theater used to be? There's so many, and this is my weekly podcast rant. How do we look at abandoned land? There's so much abandoned land that's already been built that is abandoned, sitting there with toxic runoff coming off the parking lot. How do we take those abandoned properties and rebuild homes or rebuild businesses or rebuild opportunities instead of cutting down more trees, which does not work? We have to re-examine a lot of our decisions and take the dollar value out of it. What do you think?
Well, I agree. We have to re-examine. The problem does become when we have abandoned buildings that are not in use or disrepair, and the cost factor of tearing it down is what is stopping the cities and communities from doing that. Not to
Mhm.
mention the remediation of that soil and the ground. So and you know better than I what it would take to make that a usable plot, and maybe not for building, but for farming. And to go back to the definition of plenty is, I feel, the Earth's design.
Mhm.
To go back to the design that was original before we took over in our own human pandemic. I'm not
Mhm.
talking about the virus. I'm talking about, well, the virus that is humanity's greed and
Mhm.
overconsumption and lack of ability to recognize that living in community and sharing things would prevent a lot of the waste of the resources. I don't even want to use the word resources, the gifts of our natural world. They're gifts. And so, okay. So really the definition of plenty is reorganizing our brains to realize that enough is enough with
Yeah.
our attitudes, restoring our consciousness to love of all beings and starting again. Wow, how much time do we have to do that, Maurice, right?
It's overdue. All the books
It's,
are overdue and the fines are mounting.
yeah, it's overwhelming because we're knocking at the door of a massive amount that believes that this can continue and no problems.
Mhm.
And we're sinking. And even the problems we have way over there, we don't have to look at that. So the definition of plenty is to, in my mind, is to look at the original design of Earth and contemplate within our souls, how can we get back to that more and more each day? What do we
Mhm.
have to let go of from stuff, but more importantly, our ideas of what is enough, and create a new definition of plenty, which is togetherness and sharing commitment, and values.
Sounds like a workshop in DC and a workshop in Portland and a workshop in Missouri and a
Yeah,
workshop
so
in Japan.
so y'all got to have us coming out for this. Sign up soon. I'm sure we're going to have plenty of people calling us to do these workshops. I'm excited. Are you excited, Maurice?
Tremendously excited for the calls to come in about workshops around plenty and what plenty
Yeah,
looks like and what plenty is, and the reimagining of who we are as a species. It begins now. It has to begin now. We've turned too many corners and things are overdue. So let's begin now. Call us up now.
absolutely. So from Maurice Small and Rebecca Reynolds, Maurice Small, the soil sage, and Rebecca Reynolds, the soul siren, we thank you for reorganizing your hearts to a new definition of plenty. And we will see you at our next talk. Thanks, Maurice.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, everyone.